What conspiracy theory has a high chance of being true? That identity of Jack the Ripper was known to the police. He was actually detained and questioned by police before being released. He then left the country before they could rearrest him. Scotland Yard then covered up their failure, which snowballed into one of the biggest serial killer conspiracy theories in history. This is supported by the fact that 132 years later, they are still withholding the case files and decline all freedom of information application as the files may have an impact on living persons. The 1975 dismissal of the then Australian Prime Minister, Gough Whitlam, by the Governor-General, was actually a British-American-backed CIA coup in order to prevent the nationalization of Australia's mining sector. This is the one I came here to say, but it's so much more than just the mining sector. Whitlam was threatening a key part of the Five Eyes in Pine Gap, among other things. It's well known that around this time the CIA was involved in many coups elsewhere, particularly in Latin America. Why would Australia be any different? We had an incredibly progressive Labour government at a time America and Britain were entering the height of their extreme right-wing eras. And it was a government looking to go its own way in the world and not be so reliant on Anglo-American relations. It's a fact that Governor-General John Kerr was corresponding with the Queen in the lead up to the dismissal, and that contrary to normal government practices they refused to publicize those letters, claiming them to be private. And it is well known that Kerr had a very cozy relationship with the CIA. It's very hard to take the dismissal as anything other than a coup by the American and British intelligence agencies. Can't believe nobody has said this already. I am somewhat suspicious of the Martin Luther King Jr. assassination. Just before the shooting occurred, a police radio call announced an active shooter and car chase on the opposite side of town and requested backup. Lots of backup. Almost all of the cops on duty that day responded, leaving one or two to respond to the King shooting. There was no car chase, no other shooter, and no one ever found out who made that radio call. I've posted this before. I'm still sure this isn't a case of we wouldn't be that clever. New original Coke. Apparently American Coca-Cola was made with sugar up until the 80s, but they wanted to change to a cheaper ingredient known as HFCS. Not wanting to make the change and have people in an uproar over the change in taste, Coca-Cola made New Coke, which tasted completely different, which did indeed cause criticism. The sneaky part is they said, yeah, New Coke is a failure. Here's your beloved original Coca-Cola back, except now that Coca-Cola is made with the cheaper HFCS and tastes different than original sugar Coke, but still better than New Coke. On the 5th of August, 1952, a car came to pick up Sami Ramusa in Berkeley, California. The driver opened the door for the world-renowned scientist, who was the first ever female Egyptian nuclear scientist. The 35-year-old was the first woman to earn a doctorate in atomic radiation and the first woman to hold a teaching post at Cairo University thanks to her groundbreaking PhD in atomic radiation in the 1940s. Musa sat in the backseat as they left the city and headed along the California coast. She had completed her research and was preparing to return to Egypt, but she had received an invitation for a dinner. Driving along the curved cliffs of the Pacific coast, the car suddenly swerved and plummeted 40 feet over the edge, killing her immediately. The driver jumped from the car just before the fall and later disappeared, and the invitation she received to California turned out to be fake. The death of a brilliant young physicist is shrouded in mystery, while no one knows for sure what happened. Some suspect that was targeted by Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, to prevent Egypt from acquiring knowledge of nuclear technology, though it has never claimed responsibility. Ramadan was head of the National Radiation Observatory Network at the Egyptian Nuclear and Radiological Regulatory Authority. Egyptian ambassador to Morocco Ashraf Ibrahim said Ramadan felt sick during the conference and went to his room. Shortly after arriving to his room in a hotel in the tourist area of Agbor, Ramadan felt a severe health disorder and called room service to ask for medical assistance. However, he died upon arriving to a private clinic. The public prosecutor in the Moroccan city of Marrakesh ordered the autopsy of the body to know the real reasons leading to his death. The Egyptian ambassador to Morocco explained that the embassy is following up with the Moroccan authorities since the death of Ramadan and will pursue procedures to return his body home. Medical sources said that Ramadan felt stomach cramps before heading to the clinic where he died, and directed blood samples to a medical laboratory in Casablanca to see if the death was caused by poisoning. The Egyptian expert had previously participated in official meetings with Arab environment ministers in 2014, and was tasked, along with other experts, in 2015, to study the potential effects of the nuclear reactors Bushehr in Iran and Dimona in Israel. The autopsy said that Ramadan died of a heart stroke. However, many observers the probability that the Egyptian scientist has been assassinated by the Israeli Mossad is very strong. In 2018, a new book written by Israeli investigative journalist Ronen Bergman titled Rise and Kill First: The Secret History of Israel's Targeted Assassinations was released. In the book, he referred to the Israeli assassination apparatus as the most robust streamlined assassination machine in history. In fact, nuclear scientists, in particular, are a real threat to Israel. For a country that is currently in a state of nuclear ambiguity, that is, its possible possession of nuclear weapons has yet not been made clear, it would be dangerous to have an Arab neighbor with the same kind of weaponry. The Sphinx is undoubtedly not dated correctly. Our understanding of the rise of civilization is way off, and it's all because of the egos of the archaeological and Egyptological communities. Textbooks would have been to be rewritten. Careers would be ruined. Thankfully, the internet and people's own good judgment is very helpful in revealing this atrocity of a lie. Biggest claim is that extensive water erosion occurred on the enclosure walls and back of the Sphinx that would date back to the end of the last ice age, when there was heavy rainfall and lots of water in the area, about 11,000–12,000 years ago, which is much further back in history than current claims by Egyptologists. There isn't much evidence in ancient Egyptian texts to support the claim that it was fully carved in Egypt's Old Kingdom. There is evidence, though, to suggest that the current human head was recarved by a new Egyptian king when he found a huge stone head, maybe a lion's, sticking out of the sand, but the human head is way out of proportion to the rest of the body, suggesting that the head was recarved from a different original head, maybe a lion. The disproportionate head is really telling, because there are no other examples of animals or humans with disproportionate body parts found anywhere else in Egypt from that time. Ancient Egyptians love their proportions and we're obsessed with getting them just right. There is ground-penetrating radar evidence to suggest that there is a subsurface chamber under the left paw of the Sphinx, and when Egyptian authorities found out about this, they shut down the whole radar search operation and banned them from further searching. Further suggestions to insert a small camera probe down into the chamber have been met with hostility. Egypt's old minister of antiquities, when asked about the water erosion of the Sphinx and the newly found left paw chamber, literally said, "I don't believe in radar, but I do believe in what we already know." You would think that Egyptology would be an actual science, but it's definitely not. Just a few points, but there's a lot more to dig into. Do your due diligence.